Queen Camilla's recent withdrawal from public duties has left many wondering. What does this say about the health of the royal family, and what does it mean for the future of the monarchy? Her sudden illness, just days after returning from a high-profile tour with King Charles, raised more than a few eyebrows. Is the pressure of royal life finally catching up with the royals, or is this just a temporary setback for the Queen Consort? As Queen Camilla prioritizes her health, the question remains: can the monarchy continue to thrive while grappling with such personal struggles? How will this impact the way royal duties are managed in the future? And will the royal family be forced to adapt to a new, more modern approach to public life? Let's investigate this royal health crisis together. On November 5, 2024, Buckingham Palace issued a statement that Her Majesty was suffering from a chest infection. The announcement was brief, but its implications were immediate. Her Majesty the Queen is currently unwell with a chest infection, for which her doctors have advised a short period of rest. With great regret, Her Majesty has therefore had to withdraw from her engagements for this week. The words were simple, yet they carried a weight that reverberated beyond the palace walls. This sudden illness, following an extensive overseas trip with King Charles III to Australia and Samoa, raised immediate questions. The royal family's rigorous schedule has long been a topic of public discussion, and for Queen Camilla, it has become a symbol of the difficult balancing act between personal health and public duty. Her absence, particularly during the week leading up to the remembrance events, felt all the more significant. For a family whose members are frequently in the spotlight, illness is never a private matter. It quickly becomes a part of the public narrative, inviting speculation and concern. Queen Camilla's role in remembrance ceremonies has always been of great importance. These events, dedicated to honoring the lives lost during two of the world's most devastating wars, are heavy with symbolism. As Queen Consort, Camilla's presence has become integral to the monarchy's role in paying tribute to those who sacrificed everything for the freedoms enjoyed today. Her absence from these events was not just the missing presence of a royal. It was a stark reminder of the vulnerability that even those who seem indomitable face. While many hoped Queen Camilla would recover in time to attend and participate in the ceremonies, the uncertainty of her health loomed large. The public concern was palpable. As news of her illness spread, questions about her long-term health began to surface. Was this just a minor setback, or was it a sign of something more serious? The monarchy, long a symbol of stability, suddenly felt frail in the face of this unforeseen setback. Her absence in the days following the announcement sent a message that resonated far beyond the palace walls. It wasn't just about missing an event. It was about a monarch who, despite her public role, was not immune to the pressures of health. As the royal family continues to balance their personal lives with the expectations placed upon them, moments like these serve as reminders that no matter how accustomed the public becomes to their presence, the royals are still human. They, too, have moments of fragility. The timing of Queen Camilla's illness was particularly poignant. It came at a moment when the royal family was already dealing with significant challenges. King Charles III, too, had faced health struggles in recent months, and the public had been watching closely. His continued health was a source of concern for many, and his wife's sudden illness only added to the growing worries. It wasn't just Queen Camilla's withdrawal that caught the public's attention. It was the underlying implication of vulnerability. In a world where public figures are expected to maintain an almost impervious facade, moments like this make us stop and think. The royal family, who embody tradition and continuity, must also grapple with personal health issues just like any other family. As the days passed, the focus shifted from Queen Camilla's absence at the remembrance events to the broader issue of health within the royal family. It became clear that this was not just a one-off concern, but part of a larger pattern of health struggles affecting multiple family members. It also highlighted the pressure placed on the royal family to maintain appearances, no matter the personal cost. The symbolism of Queen Camilla's absence, especially from such significant events, was not lost on anyone. For the monarchy, each absence is a moment of reflection on the weight of public duty. But it also served as a reminder of the humanity of those behind the crowns. As the days unfolded, the nation's attention remained fixed on the health of their queen consort, waiting for updates and hoping for a quick recovery. In the midst of all this, The royal family's commitment to their public roles remained unwavering. Queen Camilla's absence, while significant, was a reminder of how much they are willing to sacrifice in order to uphold the monarchy's responsibilities. But it also raised an important question. How much longer could the royals continue to bear the physical and emotional toll of their duties without acknowledging the need for rest and recovery? Would the royal family's approach to health and wellness evolve in response to these ongoing challenges? These questions would continue to echo as Queen Camilla's health remained uncertain. The monarchy, for all its pomp and circumstance, could not escape the inevitable reality that their well-being was just as fragile as anyone else's. The role of Queen Camilla in the remembrance events has always been more than ceremonial. These moments, steeped in history, offer a chance for the royal family to publicly honor the lives lost in both World War I and World War II. As Queen Consort, Camilla's presence during these events has become a vital symbol of the monarchy's connection to the past, especially to the families who have lost loved ones in these wars. Her involvement goes beyond simple attendance. It is an acknowledgement of sacrifice, loss, and the heavy weight of history that the monarchy carries. The public was well aware of the significance of her role in these remembrance activities, and her absence left a noticeable void. There was a collective understanding that while her personal health was paramount, the timing of her withdrawal was unfortunate. Her absence during such an important week was felt not only by those who attended the events, but also by the wider public, who had come to see the royal family as the ultimate symbol of resilience and continuity. Queen Camilla, in particular, had carved out a meaningful space for herself in these events, offering a quiet yet powerful presence. To many, her absence underscored the very human nature of the royal family, reminding the public that even the most seemingly indomitable figures could falter. While it was hoped that Queen Camilla would recover in time to attend at least part of the remembrance activities, her ongoing illness added a layer of uncertainty to the royal calendar. The public's concern deepened with every day that passed without a definitive sign of her return. The Queen Consort's health was no longer a private matter, but a subject of national interest. It wasn't just about missing a royal engagement. It was about the very fragility of a woman who had been part of the fabric of British royal life for decades. As the remembrance events continued without her, the royal family's broader situation came into sharper focus. The pressures of maintaining public duties while managing personal health struggles were never more apparent. Queen Camilla's absence was the latest in a series of health concerns within the family, a reminder that their roles as public figures do not shield them from the realities faced by everyday people. It was no longer just about a single withdrawal. It was about a broader shift in the way the monarchy managed the balance between duty and health. The absence of Queen Camilla also prompted reflection on the demands placed on the royal family as a whole. King Charles III's health struggles, including his cancer treatments earlier in the year, were still fresh in the public's mind. The Queen Consort's illness seemed to highlight the heavy toll that constant public engagements and travel take on the royal family's physical and mental well-being. For a family accustomed to being in the public eye, the constant demands of their roles often left little room for rest and recovery. This dynamic, while long-standing, had come under intense scrutiny as the royal family faced the intersection of personal health and the weight of royal expectations. Meanwhile, the public began to question whether this shift in health concerns would prompt the royal family to reconsider how they balance their public roles with their personal needs. If Queen Camilla's illness served as a reminder of the physical limitations that come with public duty, what about the long-term effects of such a schedule on other family members? Could this be a turning point in how the royal family manages their health moving forward? The thought that these powerful figures might one day choose to take a step back from some of their royal duties, prioritizing health over public appearances, seemed more likely than ever. Queen Camilla's absence was also a stark reminder that no one, not even those closest to the crown, is immune to the pressures of their personal health. It was a reflection of the very real toll that public life can have on individuals. Though the royals often appear invincible, Queen Camilla's illness humanized her, as it did the royal family at large. Her decision to prioritize her health, though difficult, highlighted a growing recognition of the importance of well-being, even for those whose lives are shaped by duty. As the public continued to watch, The question of how the royal family would navigate these challenges persisted. Would this be a catalyst for change, encouraging a more flexible approach to royal duties, one that takes into account personal health more fully? Or would the pressure of public expectations continue to weigh heavily as it always had? Queen Camilla's absence in this particular instance may have been temporary, but it prompted a conversation that was far from over. As Queen Camilla continued to rest, the royal family's ongoing health struggles became impossible to ignore. While the focus was firmly on her recovery, it was impossible to overlook the wider context of health issues that were also affecting other members of the royal family. King Charles III, despite his public role as monarch, had faced his own health challenges earlier in the year. His cancer treatment had been closely monitored, with updates being released sporadically by the palace. The weight of these health battles, both his and Queen Camilla's, was beginning to take its toll, not just on them personally, but on the royal family as a whole. King Charles's illness had been a source of concern for many. The public's attachment to the monarchy runs deep, and the idea of losing a monarch, especially one with as much history and experience as King Charles, felt almost inconceivable. Yet the reality of illness is one that even the royals cannot escape. For those closest to him, like Queen Camilla, it was not just a matter of managing their own health, but also of supporting each other through the inevitable ups and downs that come with such personal battles. Her own health concerns only added to the complexity of their situation. Princess Catherine's health had also become a topic of national conversation. Having undergone chemotherapy earlier in the year, her recovery was closely followed by the public. The royal family, already burdened by King Charles's health issues, now faced the added concern of a recovering Princess of Wales. The weight of these overlapping health struggles had created a perfect storm, with the royal family constantly at the center of a media narrative that was less about their public roles and more about their very human vulnerabilities. These personal health battles, while entirely separate from their royal duties, were inevitably intertwined with their public lives. In the midst of all this, the question arose, how would the royal family move forward? The traditional image of the monarchy, one of unyielding strength and poise, was being tested in ways it had never been before. The demands of their royal duties, constant travel, public appearances, and charitable work had always been grueling. But now, with so many family members facing significant health issues, it seemed clear that something would need to change. How could the royal family continue to maintain the image of indomitable strength while also managing their very real health needs? Queen Camilla's illness in many ways served as a wake-up call. The royals' health issues were no longer just a personal matter, but a public one that was constantly under the scrutiny of both the media and the public. This added pressure, which had always been part of royal life, was now even more pronounced. While the royals had always maintained a tight grip on their public image, the health challenges within the family made it impossible to ignore the cracks that were beginning to show. The idea of the royal family as an unwavering pillar of stability was starting to erode, replaced by the reality that, like everyone else, they were subject to the whims of health. As Queen Camilla continued to focus on her recovery, there was a growing sense of reflection within the royal family. How could they manage their royal responsibilities in a way that didn't sacrifice their well-being? Perhaps this was the beginning of a broader shift in the way the monarchy would function in the future. Could the royals take a step back from some of their more demanding engagements, allowing for periods of rest and recovery without jeopardizing their public roles? Could they find a way to modernize their approach to royal duty, incorporating a focus on personal health without compromising the monarchy's duties to the public? These questions were not just about the Queen Consort or King Charles III, they were about the entire royal family and the pressures they faced. If these health challenges had taught the public anything, it was that even the most established and beloved figures were vulnerable. The royals, it seemed, were beginning to take a more human approach to their lives, acknowledging that no matter how many duties they fulfilled or how strong their appearances may be, health must always come first. As Queen Camilla's recovery continued, the focus began to shift from concern to cautious optimism. The palace continued to urge the public to respect her need for rest, but it was clear that the royals would adapt. The idea that health could be more easily prioritized alongside their public roles was a potential game changer for the family. And as King Charles and Princess Catherine continued their own recoveries, the future of the royal family seemed poised for change. Change that was not only necessary, but perhaps long overdue. As Queen Camilla's health became a matter of increasing public interest, the media's attention shifted from her personal well-being to speculation about the future of the monarchy. Her withdrawal from public duties, though medically necessary, was quickly framed as part of a broader narrative about the royal family's ability to maintain their demanding schedules while managing their personal health. The palace's occasional updates on Queen Camilla's condition were met with a mix of empathy and concern, but it was clear that the public wanted more. In an era of instant news and social media, the gaps between official statements were often filled with speculation, creating a sense of unease among the public and royal watchers alike. The media's fascination with the royal family's health had grown more intense over the past year, especially as more members of the family faced health challenges. King Charles's cancer treatment and Princess Catherine's recovery from chemotherapy had already cast a long shadow over the monarchy. As these health issues piled up, the public's interest in the royals' personal lives intensified. While the family's duties and appearances were always under scrutiny, it was the growing health concerns that began to dominate the discourse. The idea that the royals might not be able to carry out their duties as they had in the past seemed unthinkable to some, but the reality was hard to ignore. How could they continue to fulfill their public obligations without compromising their health? The media frenzy surrounding Queen Camilla's absence from the remembrance events was only the beginning. Speculation about her health spread quickly, with outlets offering various theories about the cause of her illness and its potential long-term impact. Some suggested that her chest infection might be the result of a deeper, more chronic issue, while others wondered if the pressures of royal life had taken a toll on her immune system. In the absence of concrete information, rumor and theory filled the void, feeding into a narrative that was driven more by anxiety than by fact. The royals, as always, were expected to keep their personal lives under wraps, but in the age of constant media coverage, maintaining privacy was becoming increasingly difficult. Public perception of the royal family's health struggles was mixed. On one hand, there was a deep sympathy for Queen Camilla and her family. People were quick to offer support and express hope for her swift recovery. Yet on the other hand, there were those who questioned the monarchy's ability to carry on in the face of such persistent health issues. Could the royal family continue to appear in public and maintain their traditional roles while grappling with the very human struggles of illness and recovery? Some wondered if this would lead to a re-evaluation of the royal family's workload and approach to public life. Should the royals be expected to perform at the same level of intensity, or should they be given more time to rest and recover, free from the ever-watchful eye of the public? As the speculation continued, it was clear that the royal family was facing a critical moment. The public's relationship with the monarchy had always been rooted in a sense of continuity and stability. The royal family had long been seen as a symbol of strength, tradition, and resilience. But with so many family members facing significant health challenges, that image was beginning to crack. While there was still immense public support for the royal family, there was also a growing sense that change was necessary. The royal family could no longer rely solely on their image of invincibility. Their struggles with health were humanizing them in a way that was both uncomfortable and inevitable. In many ways, Queen Camilla's illness had opened the door to a wider conversation about the future of the monarchy. Could it continue to function in the same way, or would it need to adapt to the realities of modern life? The royals' relentless schedules had always been part of their public persona, but now the question was being raised. Should their health take precedence over their public roles? For the first time in decades, the monarchy was facing a situation where personal health might have to come before royal duties. This shift in focus was bound to have long-term implications for the way the royal family engaged with the public and managed their duties. Despite the media frenzy and the public's concerns, Queen Camilla's withdrawal also gave the royal family an opportunity to recalibrate their approach. The decision to prioritize her health rather than pushing through engagements regardless of her condition was a subtle but significant shift. It signaled that perhaps the royals were starting to recognize that self-care was essential. not just for the sake of their personal well-being, but for the future of the monarchy itself. This could mark the beginning of a more balanced approach to royal duties, one where health and rest were seen as just as important as public appearances. As the days passed and Queen Camilla's health improved, it became evident that her absence had sparked a broader reflection on the role of the monarchy in modern Britain. The royal family, for all its tradition and pomp, was not immune to the demands of modern life, nor to the realities of personal health struggles. How they chose to move forward in the wake of these challenges would shape the future of the monarchy. Would they continue to meet the public's expectations, or would they embrace a new approach that allowed for more rest and personal time? The next few months would determine the path the royal family would take, and Queen Camilla's health might just be the catalyst for change. As Queen Camilla's health began to improve, a sense of cautious optimism returned. The palace's updates, once filled with uncertainty, now carried a more hopeful tone. Though her full recovery would take time, the initial signs were positive. Her decision to take a step back from royal engagements had been the right one, and it seemed to signal a broader shift in how the royal family might approach their duties in the future. The importance of rest, recovery, and prioritizing personal health was becoming more apparent than ever. While public expectations would remain high, it seemed as though the royals were beginning to acknowledge the need for balance in a way they had not before. The broader implications of Queen Camilla's health struggles were not lost on anyone. The royal family had long been viewed as an unyielding symbol of tradition, strength, and continuity, a constant presence in the lives of the British public. Yet, the challenges of the past year, King Charles's health issues, Princess Catherine's recovery, and now Queen Camilla's illness, had highlighted just how human they truly were. These health battles, though deeply personal, had drawn attention to the physical and emotional toll that public duty takes on those who fulfill it. The expectation that the royals would continue to carry out their responsibilities without pause or compromise seemed increasingly outdated. As the royal family navigated these health challenges, it became clear that change was necessary. The question was no longer whether the royals would continue to fulfill their duties, but rather how they would do so in a way that allowed for more room to care for their health. This was not about stepping away from royal life, but about rethinking how to balance the weight of public responsibility with the need for rest. Could the monarchy continue to function as a symbol of stability and strength, while also acknowledging that those who embody it were, in fact, vulnerable to the same health issues as anyone else? The answer was likely a mix of both, continuing to serve, but with a greater focus on well-being. In the months following Queen Camilla's illness, it became evident that the royal family would need to adopt a more flexible approach to their royal duties. They had always been accustomed to a demanding schedule, one that required them to appear at countless events, meet with dignitaries, and fulfill their ceremonial roles. But now, it seemed, there would need to be more room for rest and recovery. This wasn't just a matter of individual health, but the future of the monarchy itself. A family that prioritized self-care was a family that could continue to serve its public role for years to come. The royals' ability to evolve with the times, acknowledging their need for rest without sacrificing their duties, would determine their long-term relevance in a rapidly changing world. The public response to these changes, if they came, would be mixed. On one hand, there would likely be sympathy and understanding. After all, most people could relate to the need for rest and recovery, especially after a period of intense strain. On the other hand, there would always be those who felt that the royals should live up to the expectations placed upon them, never faltering in their duties. The key would be finding a balance that allowed the monarchy to remain an enduring symbol of strength, while also acknowledging that, like any family, the royals were not exempt from the struggles of everyday life. As Queen Camilla's recovery continued, the royal family's future seemed poised for a subtle yet significant transformation. The focus on personal health, once a private matter, was now being integrated into the royal family's public narrative. This shift in focus could redefine what it meant to be a member of the royal family in the 21st century. If the royals were able to embrace this new reality, one where health, well-being, and public duty could coexist, they might emerge stronger and more relatable than ever before. Looking ahead, It seemed that the royal family would continue to carry out their duties with the same dedication they always had, but with an added understanding of the importance of self-care. The evolving narrative of the monarchy, shaped by personal health struggles, would be one of resilience, adaptation, and a more balanced approach to royal life. Queen Camilla's illness, while a difficult chapter, had sparked a much-needed conversation about the future of the royal family. It had reminded everyone, from the royals themselves to the public, that health and well-being are as important as duty and tradition. In the end, Queen Camilla's recovery would be a testament to the importance of rest and the need for a more modern approach to royal life. It would mark the beginning of a new era for the monarchy, one that acknowledged the human side of those who serve, while still maintaining the strength and stability that the British public had come to expect. The future of the royal family, though uncertain in many ways, now seemed to be moving toward a more balanced and sustainable model, one that might just ensure their relevance for generations to come. With that, we have reached the end of today's video. If you have come this far with us, be sure to check out other videos on the channel.